The film starts with Kaylee Cooper at the airport, rushing to catch her flight. While on a call, she notices a man rearranging snow globes and quickly puts them back in place. He notices but says nothing as he leaves. Moments later, an announcement reveals all flights are canceled. Panicked, Kaylee rushes to a check-in agent, only to learn the next flight is in 2 to 4 days. Desperate, she pleads for a solution, insisting she has an urgent meeting in New York. The attendant, already dealing with another customer heading to New York, makes Kaylee wait with him. It turns out to be the man she encountered earlier, who introduces himself as Brett. Kaylee reveals she's organizing a Christmas Eve event for a major hotel in New York, which Brett dismissively surmises as party planning. Kaylee corrects him, emphasizing she's an event planner. Brett shares that people in her field tend to get upset when things don't go as planned, but Kaylee insists she simply likes things to be perfect. Brett offers her a ride, but she insists on heading to the train station. Eventually, she agrees to the ride when he offers to drop her off at the station. At the train station, Kaylee and Brett discover it's closed due to the snowstorm, leaving Kaylee frustrated. Brett's offer to drive is short-lived when the snow intensifies, and they learn the interstate roads are blocked. Kaylee grows anxious about missing her event planning meeting, but Brett reassures her he wants to help, even though they have few options. He suggests they stay the night at his uncle's guest house in a nearby town, just a few miles away, and leave first thing in the morning. At his uncle Eli's guest house, Brett introduces Kaylee. Eli assumes they're a couple, but they quickly set him straight. Proud of Brett's past as a football player, Eli shows Kaylee photos on the wall before leading her to her room. Later, Kaylee receives a call that her meeting has been postponed, letting her finally relax. During dinner, Brett's cousin Jenna arrives with her daughter, Danny. Surprised to see Brett, Jenna is introduced to Kaylee. As the family prepares to play a game, Brett invites Kaylee to join, but she declines and goes upstairs. The next morning, Kaylee wakes to find the car buried in snow, with roads still impassable, and even the snowplows stuck. Frustrated, she calls the airline, only to learn all flights to New York are either canceled or overbooked. While they promise to notify her if seats open up, it could take anywhere from a day to 10. Suddenly, a shout from the yard draws their attention. It turns out Eli has slipped and fractured his hand. Brett urges him to go to the hospital, but Eli, determined not to miss planning the town's Christmas festival, refuses. Despite Jenna and Danny's pleas, Eli only agrees when Brett promises he and Kaylee will handle the festival until he returns. Kaylee is stunned by this unexpected arrangement. As they untangle Christmas lights, Kaylee shares she was in Fort Wayne planning an event, while Brett was there recruiting a client for his sports agency. Though it's not the same as playing, running the agency keeps him connected to the game. He adds that his main reason for returning to New York is to spend time with his 7-year-old son, Jaden. Eli returns with Jenna and Danny, his wrist in a cast and strict orders to rest for 6 weeks. Worried he'll have to cancel the festival, Eli is surprised when Brett suggests he and Kaylee handle the planning under Eli's guidance. Brett even points out Kaylee's event planning expertise. Shocked, Kaylee pulls Brett aside for a quick talk, but eventually agrees, realizing she has nothing else to do until the roads are cleared. Eli, thrilled by the idea, ropes Brett and Kaylee into wearing elf costumes for Santa's workshop, with himself dressed as Santa. Parents and kids flock to see Santa, including Danny. After overhearing Danny's wish for a candy playhouse, something her parents can't afford due to house renovations, Kaylee suggests Brett get it for her. Though Brett hesitates, feeling it's not his place to meddle after being away for so long, he questions why Kaylee cares so much. She admits she understands what it's like to have busy parents as a child. Back at the guest house, Eli's longtime schoolmate Christy visits to check on him, and the flirtatious energy between them doesn't go unnoticed, which makes Kaylee and Brett tease Eli after she leaves. Later, Eli ropes them into picking up Christmas decorations for the tree to donate to the charity auction, a new tradition in Redwood, where businesses decorate trees for bidding. He also asks them to visit local shops to gather prizes for the festival raffle. While gathering donations, Kaylee secures more than Brett, who is too direct and doesn't engage in the small talk needed to charm the business owners. Kaylee teaches him how to approach people, and they rehearse with some roleplay. When they return home, Eli is pleased to hear they've gathered so many donations. He shares that the auction money will go to Brett's old football team, helping cover costs for families who can't afford the national championship trip. Brett is touched by Eli's gesture, as winning the championship had always been his dream. Later that evening, Kaylee sees Brett on a video call with Jaden, reading him a bedtime story, which warms her heart. As they decorate the Christmas tree together, Brett opens up about Jaden, sharing that he loves decorating just as much as Kaylee. Every year, Jaden picks the color theme for their decorations, but this year they haven't chosen one yet, thanks to the snowstorm and being stuck in Redwood. Kaylee curiously asks about Brett's wife, and he sadly shares that she passed away 4 years ago, with Jaden now staying with his grandma. When Kaylee's boyfriend Nick calls, Brett encourages her to answer, despite her hesitation. Later, they show Eli the decorated tree, and he's impressed, but persuades them to take it to the auction the next day. As usual, he gets his way. At the auction, Kaylee receives a call from her assistant, who confirms Reba Marlowe is booked for her event. Thrilled, Kaylee knows it will boost ticket sales and media attention. Brett jokingly wishes they could do something similar to attract more people to the auction. Kaylee quickly gets an idea to post on Redwood's social media, highlighting that football star Brett will sign autographs for anyone who places a bid. The post works like magic, turning the once empty room into a bustling crowd. Tyler, a player from the Redwood football team, is starstruck by Brett, who signs his autograph and poses for a picture. Later, Eli is amazed by the amount of money raised, noting it's more than they've ever made. Danny immediately asks if they can all go tobogganing, but Kaylee declines, saying she has a conference call. Still, she feels a pang of longing as she watches them leave. At the house, Kaylee struggles with her call, as the signal keeps cutting out, leaving her frustrated. Jenna offers to make her a sandwich and ends up sharing her troubles with her husband Greg, revealing constant arguments since their renovations began. She admits she moved to Eli's to cool off, but the distance has only made things more awkward. Kaylee opens up about her own relationship with Nick, admitting she thought time apart would help, but it's clear they're just not compatible. She advises Jenna to talk to Greg, noting that avoidance won't solve anything. To lighten the mood, Kaylee suggests they visit the park to meet her family, where everyone has fun building snowmen, although Brett and Kaylee's snowman looks nothing like one. Afterward, Eli suggests Brett take Kaylee on a tour of Redwood. As they stroll, Brett shares childhood memories, and they enjoy each other's company. When they nearly slip on the snow, Kaylee falls into Brett's arms, leaving them locked in a lingering, heartfelt gaze. Back home, Brett shows Kaylee a playhouse he built as a child and suggests they transform it into a candy playhouse for Danny to fulfill her Christmas wish. Kaylee is surprised by his change of heart, but Brett explains he genuinely wants to do something special for her. While working on the playhouse, Kaylee opens up to Brett about her lonely childhood, with her mom always working and her dad constantly traveling for business, unlike Brett, who grew up surrounded by 7 siblings. The next day, Eli receives bad news. A tree uprooted by the snowstorm has destroyed the barn where the festival is scheduled to take place, and all the decorations inside, leaving him no option but to cancel the festival. However, Kaylee suggests holding it in the town square instead, offering plenty of space for everyone. Kaylee assigns tasks to everyone, and they begin prepping for the festival. Eli, who's managed to snag a cookie date with Christy, asks Brett and Kaylee to pick up a generator from his friend Bob before he leaves town. At Bob's house, they find he's already gone, but left the key under the mat. The house happens to be where Brett grew up, stirring bittersweet memories. Though he's avoided Redwood since his father's passing, Brett admits he's happy to make new ones, bringing a smile to Kaylee's face. Back home, Kaylee gets a text from Nick asking how to fix their relationship, leaving her upset. Brett asks about her relationship and observes she's only eager to go home for work, but this annoys her. She explains her event at Dalton is a big deal, then calls it a night. Later, Danny visits Kaylee's room to cheer her up, gifting her a Christmas headband with her name on it and making her feel part of the family. The sweet gesture brightens Kaylee's mood, and Danny leaves with a smile. The next day, festival preparations are going smoothly when Kaylee gets a call from the Dalton manager, who has nominated her for an Excellence in Exhibition award. Brett is thrilled for her, though her absence in New York complicates things. Kaylee later apologizes to Brett for overreacting the previous night, admitting his words struck a nerve. Brett, in turn, apologizes for prying into her personal life. Just then, helpers arrive for the festival, and everyone is assigned tasks. Greg shows up, surprising Jenna, though things feel a bit awkward between them. Noticing this, Kaylee sends Greg to Jenna with cookies for her stand, hoping to break the ice. Brett watches and remarks on her meddling, prompting Kaylee to say that sometimes people just need a nudge to express their feelings. Her words leave Brett gazing at her with admiration. Kaylee receives a call from Nick and finally finds the courage to end things, doing what's best for herself. Later, Kaylee stands alone in the crowd, seeming a bit down, and Eli tries to get her Christmas spirits up with a dance, but she nudges him to dance with Christy instead. It looks like Kaylee's added matchmaking to her talents. When Brett joins her, she admits she loves making people happy, and he asks what makes her happy. For her, it's seeing her events come to life and enjoying good ice cream. Brett then asks her for a dance. As they slow dance, Kaylee shares that she noticed Brett talking to Jill earlier, a classmate his mom had wanted him to date years ago, and curiously asks about it. Brett admits he finally asked her out on a date, which leaves Kaylee feeling conflicted. She then confesses that she ended things with Nick earlier that day. Brett offers to cancel his plans with Jill to stay with her, but she insists he go on the date, urging him not to change his plans. The festival wraps up with Eli announcing they've raised enough money for the football team, bringing joy to everyone. Later that night, Brett confides in Eli that things won't work out with Jill because she wants a version of him that no longer exists. Eli picks up on Brett's feelings for Kaylee, but Brett dismisses it, thinking it doesn't matter since she just ended her relationship. He doesn't want to be a rebound. Eli urges him to tell Kaylee how he really feels, warning that they might not get another chance since they'll be going their separate ways soon. The next day, Danny excitedly discovers the candy playhouse outside, which had been moved out of the shed for space and forgotten. Later, Brett is pleasantly surprised when his mom, Sandra, and Jaden arrive, thanks to Eli, who booked them a last-minute flight so they can all spend Christmas together. While playing Mimics, Kaylee receives a call about 2 available seats on a flight leaving at 6 in the evening. Feeling conflicted on what to do, she asks Brett for advice, and he encourages her to do what's best for her, so she decides to take the flight. Although the family is disappointed she's leaving, she bids them farewell. Before leaving, she thanks Brett for the unforgettable adventure and reflects on how life brings people together at the right time and place. Before she can say more, Jenna interrupts, urging her they should hurry to the train station in order not to miss it. At the train station, Kaylee has a change of heart and decides to return to the house with Jenna. Brett is pleasantly surprised when he learns she didn't take the train after all. With a newfound sense of clarity, Brett finally opens up about his feelings and asks Kaylee to stay with him. Kaylee, feeling the same way, agrees, and the two share a heartwarming kiss, with the entire family watching from the yard, delighted by the moment. It seems Kaylee has finally found her place, becoming a part of the family.